welcome to episode 7 of Young and Hungry. As you guys know, it's a Leudic production all about young hustlers who are pursuing really unique entrepreneurial and professional endeavors. For those of you guys who do not know, Leudic is a new fashion brand who creates comfortable, stylish, really cute, in our opinion, clothing for all of the modern wearers. And so we are Leudic's co-founders. I'm Kara and this is Rye, and we are also your Young and Hungry hosts.
So today we have the very super talented Gabby Howard. Gabby is the owner of a painting business named California Blend, and she paints comic stars, superheroes, pop culture, Star Wars characters, and everything in between. And she sells them through her online platforms, such as her website and Instagram, as well as going to comic conventions. And I met her when we both attended SCAD. So she attends SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, and majors in film and TV production. And she wants to be a director once she graduates and grows up. So that'll be super cool. She's very talented. I've seen some of her short films. And I met her because we were suite mates. And this is one of her paintings that I actually purchased from her. So look how cool that is. Like, she's phenomenal. And she has some great insight that Kara and I just were not aware of. Like, we did not know about this entire comic convention world and the work that goes behind it. So today we're going to find out all about that.
Yes. And right before we get started with Gabby, we just want to thank all of you guys for tuning in, whether you're listening, watching, either way. We are appreciative for you guys to be here. We made this series because we want to create a platform to support, encourage, recognize, and empower young hustlers, just like we said. And so we know that from our business, it's really hard sometimes to be taken seriously when you're young and hustling and doing your own little endeavor. And so, there are a lot of obstacles that come with it, but we want to try and, help young people who are hustling and give them a platform where they can be recognized. So with all that being said, let's hear from Gabby.
Well, thank you, Gabby, for coming on to Young and Hungry. Like I said in the intro, Gabby and I actually go to SCAD together. So we met, she is my suite mate, and I've known her through my freshman year, and she's wildly talented. We were in drawing class together, and she would always show me up, and it was not fair how good she was. I mean, I'm not that good, but she is literally amazing. So I'm really happy that you get to come on and talk about your business, because I'm also a proud owner of one of your art pieces. I bought one for my brother's birthday, so she's awesome. So just go ahead, and for everyone listening and watching, tell us a little bit about yourself and also your business, how you got started, and what your business entails.
So hey guys, my name is Gabby, but I also go by California Blend. That's the name of my business. And I started selling my artwork at comic conventions when I was 14 years old, at different local comic conventions here in Florida at PalmCon and MegaCon. And throughout the years, I've met so many people in the comic book community through comic conventions, and I've just grown as an artist and started to sell my artwork more as more people started to find out about me.
Cool. What made you start drawing what you draw? Can you tell for the viewers what you draw or paint? I don't know how you do it, but.
So I mainly draw and do acrylic paintings of superheroes or Star Wars, just anything that I'm interested in. And since I was young, I've always had a passion for superheroes and stuff like that. And that's just what my art mainly consists of. But I also do like portraits and landscapes as well.
That's so cool.
She's very interested. Like, so I don't know about most colleges, but SCAD, Halloween is a big deal at SCAD. And I wasn't aware of this because in most colleges or schools, it's not. So I was just like dressed normally. And most of the college are like decked out, like dressed up that day, like insane amount of makeup and like costume. And Miss Gabby here was in like the best Spider-Man costume. She looked fantastic in it. She had this whole bodysuit and everything, and she looked great. So we know that she loves her superheroes.
Yeah, that's so cool. This is so unique. I don't think I've ever met somebody who does, what you do. And I think that's really cool. So you sell these paintings online in Comic-Con style conventions. So what is it like selling, through those two methods, and especially at the conventions?
So at comic conventions, it's like a whole different world out there. It's almost like Halloween for about 4 days, because most comic conventions take place between Thursday to Sunday and some between Saturday to Sunday. And there are a lot of cosplayers, people who dress up like superheroes or anime characters, and they just come up to the booth and they're so excited. They're like, oh my gosh, there's this character, I need to have it. And it's just a really cool atmosphere to sell at. And for my online website, it's mainly just people who I've connected through, it could be family members, could be friends that I sell, and then normally they would post a picture of the item that they purchased. So it's cool to sell at comic conventions and also online as well.
That's so cool. How much stock do you go to the comic conventions with?
So for me, I try to go with as many pieces as possible. Normally it would be somewhere around 100 to 120 paintings that I do. So normally I spend like all year just painting as much as possible. And yeah.
You should see like one, I was like, you know, when you get your like roommate list, you like go on Instagram, you're like stalk them, you're like, I wonder
Stalking them.
who are, right? And then like you scroll up, literally her whole booth is covered with paintings, and like not just like small like 12 by 12s, but like huge paintings as well. Like, she has an insane amount of inventory that she goes with.
I have a question. How long does a typical piece take you?
It depends on the size, but depending on the size, it could take anywhere from about 3 hours to 20 plus hours.
Wow. Do you ever do the same pieces? Do you ever
Not
paint?
the same pieces, maybe the same characters, but in different styles or positions.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's so amazing and so unique.
Yeah. So I like, even like when like, you know, you have your college workload, like she would still like every week she would like churn out 2 paintings and like post it. Like her whole wall in our dorm was just like her paintings that she had done.
Do you sleep?
Yes. Yes, I do sleep. As far as my schedule, what I would do, like try to do my homework as fast as possible and then spend the weekend, because we had Thursdays and Friday. We did have Thursdays off?
We had Fridays off. Fridays off.
I forgot. Yeah, we had Fridays off, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So those would be like my days to paint.
Wow. I applaud your time management, because to be able to paint that much during school, I mean, I know, you know, from Rye, a lot of times will text me about how long like the projects are and stuff like that. And I just know that that takes, or like, just like even schoolwork, I mean, so like how, I know how much your school takes, how much time your school takes. So, you know, that's amazing that you're able to fit in all of that painting and drawing in between that.
So just kind of moving on, you said you started when you were 14. And that's a really young age. Like you're in 8th grade, like 8th grade going to 9th grade, I think, at that age. And I mean, I've never been to a comic convention, but just on what I see, it's not just kids. There's a lot of adults in that community, and especially the community of like painting and selling them, there's a lot of adults. So what are some challenges you faced in this business? Because due to the fact that you were young, and you were even younger when you started. So what were just some of the challenges with that?
Just kind of getting my name out there and being taken seriously. Like some people would be like, oh, that's a cute hobby. But for me, it was something that I wanted to do like for the rest of my life. So this was something I was very passionate about and always trying to constantly develop my art as much as possible. So being young, it was an advantage and a disadvantage, because at comic conventions, it's just mainly adults selling their artwork and stuff. So for me, I was like this young kid trying to figure out what is the best way for me to try to sell my stuff and be successful at it.
Do you think you were taken less seriously because you were young?
Yes, I do at certain times.
Okay, interesting. I have another question, actually, just a little bit of a detour, but do you find that the artists are women or men, or is it equal? I'm just curious if it's, you know, dominated by one gender.
It's mainly men at comic conventions, which is really like crazy because of the time that we live in right now. But there are a few female artists that I have met out there, but it's just mainly men. Like they have us set up in just rows, and like you just see like full adult men.
Yeah. Wow. Good
How
for
has
you.
that been like? Like you're a young female artist.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you noticed being young and female in a apparently a male dominated industry?
Sometimes like people, they might look at your booth and be like, oh, that's cool, but then pass by and not really appreciate or acknowledge the work that you're doing and just taking me seriously. Because
Yeah.
like, what do you know about superheroes, or you don't know that character?
Right. I mean, that's kind of the reason we made this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right, is we want to highlight those people. See, that's really confusing to me, because I don't know why your gender would have anything to do with your artistic ability. but I feel like there's a lot of things that, you know, like even through like our young and hungry discussions and just like different industries we talk about, like there's a lot of industries like that, you know, I mean, and of course, like your talent is not based off of what gender you are, but that's frustrating. How do you go about like, you know, combating that when you're trying to sell your pieces?
At comic conventions, I know I have like my day one supporters out there. So I just try and focus on improving my art, and people who will want to buy your art will buy your art regardless of your race, your gender, no matter what. So I just try and focus on improving myself, improving my art, and the people that will come and who are supposed to support your art will eventually come to you.
That's awesome. Do you find that you have a lot of return like customers?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
that's so cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh my gosh.
You
So,
were- oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just saying, you talked about how like your work will speak for yourself, like regardless of your gender, race, creed, all of that. Do you just in like the world that we are in, race has been a really big topic in the last couple of months, as it should have been, because as people of color, they're just not getting as much recognition as they should. And so do you see like, I mean, when you sell in these comic style conventions, do you see one race is more dominating like the males, or is it pretty equal?
I would say there is more one race dominating this field. It's like white males mainly and white females. But for, yeah, just in this, I mean, even in the comic book industry for like comic creators, comic writers, there are not that many people of color that are writing comic book stories. And even superheroes in general, there's not many comic book superheroes that are people of color.
Yeah, I like I was thinking about it that day. I love listening to movie scores. Like that's just what I love listening to it. And superheroes, like superhero movies have like great movie scores. So I was listening to Wonder Woman's, like the movie scores. And for some reason, like it was random, but I just thought, I was like, there's like no Indian superhero that I can see. And it's mostly all white characters. And recently we've had some people of different nationality or color on the screen, but it's just different because all of these superhero, like be that Marvel or DC, these are international brands, and literally every country loves Marvel superheroes or DC superheroes. And for that, and like there's no representation of most of the world in those movies. And I think they're really losing out because these like kids look up to superheroes. Like that is their thing. Like you want to be like Spider-Man, you want to be like Wonder Woman. Like that's just what kids do. And if you don't see someone that looks like you on screen, I think they're putting themselves at a great disadvantage. So, yeah, I love that you brought that up. And I think there definitely needs comic book writers and need to write more about people of color. I think they're missing out.
Yeah. Well, also like not only is it doesn't represent, you know, like, you know, I'm not going to say superheroes because they're not real, but like, you know, they're viewers, but also like from a business standpoint, like that's not even seems like a logical business method to me. Do you know what I mean? Like you want to have a diverse, like representative, you know, product so that you can make sure that you're one, you know, standing for values that are right, which is obviously going to increase the people that support your business. And two, I mean, what are you saying to, you know, customers that are Indian when you don't ever have an Indian superhero? You know what I mean? Like I
think when the new Star Wars came out and it was revealed that Finn was black and a stormtrooper could be black, like that was a huge thing. Like no one thought stormtroopers could be black, which was like weird. Like why couldn't they be? Like they wore masks. Like no one. It was just kind of like a idea that everyone's like, oh, they're white. And then when Finn was black, you're like, oh my god, like that's wild, and people like freaked out. So I think Star Wars has done a pretty decent job. I think they have a lot more nationalities than other Marvel movies.
But how sad is that though? That like we're even surprised by like why we shouldn't even be surprised by the fact that there are other races in big movies like that, or like that's horrible the way that, you know, that culture is, like I guess in media or in you know, superheroes and stuff like that.
I just have like a leading question from this. We mentioned in the intro that you want to be a director in the future, and her short films are super cool for class. She has really cool stuff. How do you want to take this? Like, how do you want to change that narrative of having people of color in your scripts and stuff? Have you thought about that? Like in the future, what you want to do?
So I know for a fact, I really want to tell just stories that haven't been explored with just different people of nationalities, even with the certain jobs that a character might have, like having a black female as a chef or as an astronaut. in a show, like something that I might want to see, or as a marine biologist, just telling unique stories that people haven't seen before, something fresh when it comes to my writing.
Yeah.
I love that. It's important. There needs to be more of that. Yeah. So moving on a little bit, right back to your paintings, we are wondering, how do you choose the subjects of your paintings, and how has your painting style with them evolved throughout the years? Because you've obviously been doing this for quite some time.
So social media plays a lot into the paintings that I create, and also the movies and the video games that are coming out within the year. Like if I know Wonder Woman is coming out, or if a new Spider-Man movie is coming out, then you'll see a lot of other artists starting to paint that character. And also with comic books, since they come out every single week, there's certain characters that become popular. So it's like a mix of what is hot right now and also what I'm feeling. Like if I want to paint a picture of Black Panther or Silver Surfer or Galactus, then that's what I'll paint. And I normally cater to what my fans like, not my fans, but the people in the comic book community like. That's what I do.
Okay. Do you find that that changes a lot year to year?
Yes, it does. There's like some characters that I would have never thought to paint that have actually turned out to be pretty successful on Instagram.
So
Okay.
comic books come out every week. I was not aware of this.
Mm-hmm. Comic books come out every single week. They call it New Comic Book Wednesday, and it's like certain titles. But for each title, like if there's a Spider-Man book, it'll come out on the third Wednesday of each month. But DC Comics has several titles going on, and Marvel as well.
That's so cool. I didn't even I didn't even know that comic books like still come out as often as they did. Like that's wild.
Yeah. Wow. So how would you say your painting style has evolved throughout those years?
So I would say that my artwork has gotten a lot cleaner. I know when I was younger, some of my line work was kind of sloppy and not as good. And plus, I've also worked on building up the values on my painting to make it look more realistic. So that's something I've done over the years.
Okay. And the one behind you was done by you, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So everybody watching, I'm sorry for everybody listening to this as a podcast, but everyone watching, you can see clearly how talented she is. That's incredible.
I love your, there's a painting that you've done for Venom, and like you have like all the slime like everywhere of Venom. It's so cool. You did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Oh, did you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Just through this business, because obviously Kara and I know nothing about this world. Like when we were talking, Kara was like, oh, what does Gabby do? And I was like, I was explaining to her and she's like, I would have never thought that that was a business. No. So it's just something that we are ignorant to, and I don't know why we were. It's just something we didn't think about. Like we were both fans of Marvel and DC, but we never go to these like huge conventions, and we just didn't know about. So what is the biggest thing you think you've learned through this business and doing what you do?
For me, I would say marketing and also pricing, because at my first comic convention, I was so eager and so excited to start selling my artwork. But at that time, it was a super small comic convention and I only sold one item. And after that, I was like, I'm not painting anymore. I'm not selling any of my art anymore. But for me, at that comic convention, something that I look back on is that my stuff was crazy overpriced during that time, because I was new. I was like, I can do this. My stuff is going to sell, but I need to improve more on my art. And then also I was focusing on just improving my art as well. And then just starting to build out my fan base.
So what goes into your pricing? What do you think you've learned about pricing and marketing?
So for pricing, I would say for me, I know some people can do based on how detailed it is, or if it's like a headshot or a bust shot. For me, I do my pricing based off of sizes. Like I have an 8x10 is $20, 9x12 is $30. And that's what works best for me. And then also for marketing, on the back of my canvases now, I put my name, the date, and then a scripture. And then I also put @California Blend, which is something that I wish I did before, so that whoever has my painting, they will know that it's a California Blend painting. But on the back, it'll probably say Gabrielle Howard if they had an early work, and they might not be able to find me now. And then also another thing that I do right now is every time I sell a painting through my website, I have a little postcard inside of it that says, tag me in your photo, thanks for purchasing, stuff like that. So that has been really helpful, because I have a lot of people doing unboxing videos of my paintings on their YouTube, and they someone else will find out about my work and then start following me. And it's just like, just a simple thing of sending out a postcard saying, repost this if you enjoy, has done so much for my business and just getting the word out about California Blend.
So does most of your business come from the conventions or from your online store?
So before the pandemic, it was mainly through the convention, but then during the pandemic, since I couldn't go to any conventions, like my website kind of blew up like more than it was before. So that was really unexpected.
Wow, very cool. That's super awesome.
I think the way like I've been seeing like through your Instagram, like you have so many people that you collaborate with and you like talk to on YouTube, and you just like you're building a community. And I'm seeing you're like recording podcasts with like other, or like unboxing videos with other creators. So how has that been, like just like connecting with the rest of that community?
That has been so cool because there's so many people that I haven't met just yet that I probably cross paths at, since I go to Florida comic conventions, and most of the people that purchase from me live in Florida. So it's like I could have met them at a certain time, but now during the pandemic, like I'm meeting them for the first time online. And it's been so cool just connecting with all these different people in the comic community. And they're really so sweet, and they love superheroes too. So they kind of like get me when I freak out about certain things. So it's really cool and nice.
Yeah, that's so fun.
It's so cool. Speaking of the pandemic, the pandemic has really changed all of our lives, and every person we've had on this interview series, we've kind of discussed how the pandemic has affected them, because it's a tough thing. No one knew how to handle it, and most of our work deals with interactions with people and going out there, and especially for you, like I think like going and selling to like a huge crowd, like comic conventions are massive groups of people, so obviously that got canceled. So how do you think COVID has affected your business or your career, and how have you dealt with that?
So during the pandemic, I've had to figure out and maneuver around certain situations because like I've been selling most of my artwork through my website, so I have to ship out a lot of things. So just dealing with making sure everything is packaged correctly and secure, because I've had a few incidents where like my painting was like damaged that I sent to someone. And so just taking the extra precautions to make sure that my paintings are super well packaged. And also at the post office, the lines have been crazy during this pandemic. So just waiting in line, trying to get my package sent to someone. And I've also been dealing with delays as well with my painting arriving to someone.
Oh,
Do you think the amount of paintings you're selling, has that gone down in any way, or has it been like consistent?
It's been consistent for like the last 5 months, which I'm like, oh,
wow.
I had no idea that was going to happen.
Yeah. So I have a question. So you said that you paint throughout the year to prepare for the conventions, but for your online website, do you post the paintings that you had been painting throughout the year? Do you have ones that you've painted before and then you make them custom? How does that work?
So right now, and how I've been doing it for a couple of months now, is that as I paint something new, I post it on Instagram, and then I post it on my website as well. So every time I paint something new, I put it on my website.
And then whatever's left is what you end up bringing to the conventions?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Very cool.
Before the pandemic, it wasn't like my website wasn't as hot as it is right now. So not that many items were selling. So I didn't have to like replenish my collection as much.
Right.
Have you seen any like particular movie or superhero just be really popular during the pandemic?
Right now there's a Thor comic that's really hot right now.
Really?
But, Thor's a hot character.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
the guy who plays Thor is also very hot.
Yeah, well said. Well said. That's funny.
And so are these like the new comics that you say like come out every week? So it's like one of those characters that have become, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I did not know this world even existed.
Yeah, me either. I have another question. So you say that, you paint what's like booming, I guess, at the time. How much does that shift? Like how quick are things, changing? Is it like every 2 weeks there'll be something booming, every couple months, like what's the timeline on that?
I would say it just really depends on how things are going. Just with like, I know right now DC Comics is about to have their own online comic convention this weekend. So I know they're going to be releasing some trailers of Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman. So all of that stuff, yeah. People are probably going to be creating stuff of that and drawing stuff of that. So it could just happen just like that overnight, really.
Yeah. I have a question. What's your favorite character you've ever painted?
Spider-Man. I love painting Spider-Man.
Why?
Because I just love Spider-Man. Peter Parker has been one of my favorite characters since I was young, since he was like, he's so relatable. Like he was a high school kid just trying to figure out the world and be a savior for his city, be a superhero at the same time.
Did you like the Spider-Verse, the
Yes,
take on it?
I loved it.
I thought it was great, especially the animation was fantastic. It's
Yeah. Wow. I did not know all of this existed, and that's really, really cool.
Are you this is a contentious topic, but are you a Marvel girl or a DC girl?
Marvel all the way.
Marvel all the way. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, I guess, moving on a little bit. So something that we've been thinking about, especially through this pandemic is, what is the future for Leudic? What does it look like? And, we can't really necessarily say what's going to come tomorrow, but we're trying to, set those goals for ourselves and for our business to try and, be able to grow and be on some sort of path. And so what is the future of your career? Do you think that you're still going to be doing this in 5 years? Do you think that, you're going to only do it a little bit longer? What's your end goal? We're really curious about that.
For me, I'm really trying to make it to San Diego Comic-Con. I know I'll probably be able to do comic conventions more often once I'm finished with school. I really want to tour around the United States. There's so many comic conventions out there, and I really just want to hit up the main ones around the United States. So.
That's so cool. So you're hoping to be doing, so there's no goal end in sight for this, correct?
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I wish you all the best. I can't wait to hear about when you go to San Diego Comic-Con. That's like the biggest one, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, I always see like trailers and stuff get released at Comic-Con. So like all the superhero trailers will just like keep coming out like as soon as Comic-Con happens because they all get released. So
yeah. Wow. Well, that's amazing. And I'm sure you'll be able to do that sometime. Obviously, like you're very dedicated to your work, very committed, especially if you're producing paintings every single week, So, when people are that committed to what they're going to do, then, you'll figure it out and you'll do whatever you're looking to do. So I wish you the best of luck in that. And so, kind of wrapping up a little bit, one thing that we really like in Young and Hungry and that we're hoping for is that anybody listening or watching can potentially, that's aspiring to do the same thing as what our guests do, can, maybe take some advice or just some insight away so that maybe they want to do it. And so what would be advice that you would give to somebody who is aspiring to do the same type of thing and produce the same artwork that you do?
A few things that I would say is never give up on your craft. Keep pushing it out regardless if you're selling like crazy or not selling anything at all, because one day will come where everything just falls into place and everything will work out for the good. Just trust the process and trust the timing. In due timing, everything will happen for you.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a question in the sense I wish I'd asked this to like some of our other interviewees, but people who you're going into, like, this is like a very traditional art form that you're doing, like painting and the drawing. Do you think art school is something that you would recommend to others? And do you think that it was a good decision for you to go? Like, did you learn a lot about your craft? Or what do you think?
For me, if I was trying to become if I was another artist, I wouldn't want to go to art school to be an artist, because for me, I like to enjoy art, and I feel like when I'm learning about certain things about art, there's certain rules that you have to follow. But I'm going to this art school to be a film director, and for film, there's certain aspects that you need to learn. So I would say to each his own when it comes to the craft that you're trying to pursue.
That's actually a really like good way that you're putting it, because I've like for a lot of drawing classes, I've seen people who've been into like illustration or painting majors. They just do not like those classes at all because they hate like guidelines or rules and stuff, that because like your professor wants you to learn every aspect of the art, and they'll often give you things that you need to learn about, and they're just not happy with it because they want to be creating on their own. So that's pretty good advice.
Yeah. Well, isn't part of art like that you get to be creative and, like do it the way that you want to do it, So that's interesting. So, and then, our last question is something that we just want to know about you is what has been the most rewarding part of this incredible creative journey that you have had so far?
For me, just being able to share my art with so many people. Like, I never thought that people would want to purchase something that I created. Just sometimes just spending hours staying up till 4 a.m. trying to finish a painting, and then someone purchased it. Like, the fact that they value the time that I put in, the effort that I put in, it just really means a lot. So I would say that.
That's amazing. That's so cool to think like your work is all like around, you know what I mean? Like all these people have it in their homes and stuff like that. Like I think that's so surreal, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that was our last question. So first of all, thank you so much for being here. What you do is very unique. We haven't had a guest like this before. And to be honest with you, I don't know anybody else that does what you do. So first of all, I think that it's so unique what you do. You're so highly talented. And I think that it's really cool that, like we talked about, you're breaking some of these gender stereotypes, they're not stereotypes, but like barriers, like whether it's gender, race, age, things like that. I think that's so amazing. Do you want to go ahead and plug what your social medias are so people can check out your work and your website and things like that?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at California Blend, BLEND. And then I also have a Facebook page, Gabrielle Howard, you can follow me at. And I also have a YouTube page that is California Blend as well. And for my website, if you go into my Instagram, I have the link in my bio.
Very cool. Everybody go check her out. She's so talented, so amazing. And I know that there is a huge niche for, superheroes. So
well, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate you. I'm so glad that we met freshman year. You've always been so sweet and kind. And I've just learned so much about art from you and just by watching you grow, even through like our 2 quarters before we had to go home. And thank you again for just coming on and like teaching us about a world that we didn't even know about. So hopefully people who are listening or watching, you guys get interested and check her out because she's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like you had a lot of insight to offer that people don't really know about, and that's so, so cool. And so for anybody else that's listening or watching, as you guys know, if you've listened to our other episodes, this platform really just wants to support young professionals who are doing amazing things, just like Gabby. And so if any of you guys listening or watching have any suggestions, please, please, please let us know because we want to highlight all the young people that are hustling. You can do this by leaving your suggestion in our comments on our YouTube. You can email us at leudicshop@gmail.com. That's LEUDIC shop, or you can DM us or on Instagram, or on our Facebook page, which is also Leudic shop, which is LEUDIC. So please send us all of your suggestions.
And thanks again, Gabby, for coming on. And thank you everyone for tuning in and watching or listening to Gabby talk about all the amazing things that she's been doing. Just to reiterate, Young and Hungry just wants to be a platform to be highlighting and spotlighting all the amazing young creatives, professionals, entrepreneurs, CEOs, and everything in between. So thank you again for watching. And until next time, stay young and hungry and keep hustling, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.